This is Pranav Goa Thakurta from Edu TV, the first education channel that covers India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Middle East, of all the countries we are covering, and some parts of North Africa. We are known for connecting schools with universities and universities with corporates. Today, we have got a very important guest with us, Mrs. Bhatkoti, Mrs. Priyanka Bhatkoti, one of the youngest principal in our country, and she's heading a school called Maxford School Dwarka that doesn't need the recognition, and she has taken the school to great heights. I think a lot of students go abroad in Ivy League universities from there, best of the colleges and University of India, and she keeps working hard for the students so that they are recruited and placed in good universities. And our host today is Mr. Asim Kumar Bhatnagar has 22 plus years of experience. He started his career with Kinetic Engineering Limited, Pune in the year 2000. Then he worked with SDFC Bank as relationship manager. Then worked with ICFAI, which is popularly known as ICFA University, as regional head North India for good 13 years. After that, he worked with Amity University, Lucknow campus as a director marketing and admissions. Currently, he is with Sushant University, Gurugram, in the capacity of director marketing and admissions. Welcome both of you, sir. And Asim has also did his schooling from the prestigious La Martiniere School, Lucknow. Welcome, sir. I would request Mr. Asim Bhatnagar. The best part today's interview is I have never found it. Both guest and host, their surname starts with Bhatt, BHAT. So that's a very unique thing I found today. And I will now request Mr. Asim Bhatnagar to speak to Mrs. Bhatkoti for a smooth transition from schools to universities. And I think we can have a conversation. Over to you, Asim.
Thank you, Mr. Pranav. It was a pleasure coming and hosting this session. And as you have already introduced me, I'm Asim Bhatnagar, Director Marketing and Admissions at Sushant University, Gurugram. And today I'm in conversation with Mrs. Priyanka Bhatkoti, who is the principal at Maxford School situated at Dwarka. Now, she's a very young, vibrant, and a dynamic lady with a rich blend of academic experience in the education domain. And ma'am, we welcome you. And it's an absolute privilege and honor to have you here with us in this interactive session. And I'm sure with the information and the insights and the knowledge that you're going to share with us will definitely have a good impact on the society as well as the parents and the children. So with this, I'd like to start this interactive session with you, ma'am. Initially, as we all know that Omicron again has come, and we are facing this situation again for the third consecutive year where the education system has gone online. So with this, what according to you are the challenges faced by the students, teachers, and the parents, and the society as a whole? The education system is online now.
All right. Asim sir, can I paraphrase your question and answer it a little differently?
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
You know why? Because in every threat lies an opportunity. It is my sincere belief that here, opportunities and threats, they are, two sides of the same coin. Yes, every age has a challenge. Pranav sir has passed out from Dehradun, and we have had, instances where colleges and institutions had to be closed for reasons beyond their control. Yes, but look at what would have happened if we were in the 1990s, like when I was in school. There was a political scenario that came into India and schools were closed. I was in my board year. This happened in the month of August, and we could come back to the schools only by January and December. And at that point of time, the pre-boards were held, and Dehradun being a very cold place, January usually is winter break there. So our classes could start somewhere in February straight with the pre-boards and the Ides of March. 15th of March is when council used to hold there. It was a de facto date for the board exams to start. And we used to call it as the Ides of March there. And the boards happened. Now, in that scenario where the density of phone lines was very low, you only depended on radio and television for important information. And obviously, the newspaper came the next day. But if supplies were interrupted, you did not get the news. Word of mouth was the buzzword. Now, we are only talking about approximately 2 decades before. Now, look at what happened. Now, it was not a situation of a complete lockdown, yet, students appeared for board exams. Universities were massively affected at that point of time. They also held their terms and semester, and the results were declared as usual. Now, look at a scenario where in March of 2020, there was a complete lockdown in the country, but most of the organization which were future ready out there, who had logins, passwords, and their websites and learning management systems configured, immediately moved onto the online mode. Now, look at what colleges and schools and universities have done per se. They immediately took on board corporate tools. If you look at Zoom, and we are holding a dialogue via Zoom at this point of time, this was developed for corporate United States of America, yes? But right now we are using this to hold a dialogue and to create a movement or sensitization or a bridge between schools and universities per se, which is the need of the hour. But did we allow our students to suffer because there was a lockdown? No. All schools, organizations carried out their in-service training sessions, and everybody was equipped to take care of your teaching learning needs of students. One-to-one sessions were carted out, counseling sessions were done, and over there with the technical tools available to us, the data that came, and schools are using big data very effectively, who is present, who is not present, who has digital device for their help, who doesn't have, it's all mapped beautifully there. So accordingly, customized solutions are being worked out for students and parents. I'm sure universities and colleges are doing the same thing. Yes, I agree that virtual teaching as well as virtual interactions cannot replace the offline teaching. But in a unique circumstance, we have to make the best of what is available. Students are able to learn at their own convenience because a lot of material, and especially in case of university, the classes are available to them in their classrooms out there, whichever be the mode that you choose to transact. So they can learn at their own convenience. Now look at the flexibility it gives the student, that when the lecture is on once in offline class, if we miss because of any reason, are we able to take the benefit of that fantastic lecturer again, or that professor who came over, or the special session which was there? In the virtual mode, you have scaled up, and we have scaled up our operations, that somebody who did not understand can peruse that once more, and somebody who wanted to move over to the challenge level can go to the lectures last 10 minutes, because that is the numerical, that is the the content that that student wants to use. So customized solution, what better way than that? Your differentiated instruction is happening on its own. Now what has it given us as an opportunity is that the geographical boundaries have become immaterial. If there is a threat element, especially in case of universities, I know a lot of my students who went abroad, and when there was lockdown and bubble flights they had to take, their studies were not impacted because they were taking care of their studies from India and from the comfort of their home. Parents were happy, the students were safe, and they were also saving their living cost out there. The tuition fee had been paid, but if you look into the living cost at a place in pandemic times where your earning and income is affected, and students may have paid heavy student loans, because especially college domain, now your domain is much different from school domain, so the fees come into multiple lakhs there. Look at the saving for the parents, saving for the student, that you are able to study in safe scenario, that is your home there. Yes, you're not dependent on hostel for food, you're not dependent, and your social interactions are limited to the safe minimal out there. So yes, the phones were already there with our students. They were there on social media. We were not using technology to assess as much. But I think here the pandemic became a game changer for all of us because we realized the need of the art. The evolution that has happened in the teaching scenario from the junior most class to the senior most class out there has been stupendous. It would not have been at this pace, it would not have been with this intensity, it would not have been with this readiness had the situation not been what it is. So let's look at the silver lining because it has equipped us. I don't have to travel to Pranav's studio. I frequently the television studios were inviting me from NDTV, so I had to hop over to Noida or to Southex for a TV interview or an interaction, and 3 hours I was spending in commute if I had a 1 hour session with the media there. At this moment I'm there in my school, I'm able to take care of a lot of work that is there. You are there in your university office, Pranav is in his office, and look at how the convergence has happened there. So let's look at what the benefit has come. Everything will definitely have a disadvantage also. It is up to us to find out pathways to get rid of the disadvantages. If we only focus on problems, then we are never going to be a part of a solution. So let's look at the solutions and what benefit I'm sharing. The benefit that I had was that in a normal physical classroom, you have the limitation of a 40 students capacity. Now with various mediums like WebEx or Google, and your Zoom, etc. Google has a limitation of 100 to a class as of now out there. I can have my fantastic teacher who is an expert teacher take a class of 280 also. Yes, the chat gives every student a voice, because otherwise in a given class you can ask a question of one and expect only one to answer. You do not allow others to crowd one person at a time, etc. But in the chat you're getting your polls immediately, you're getting your answers immediately. You have a hot feedback to the kind of teaching that you have done, whether it was successful or not, because if the answers that are coming are right, chances are students have understood what you have taught and you can move ahead to the next level. But if the answers that are coming are wrong, you need to review how you taught and get back with that concept before the students and do a reteaching, a rethinking, so that the concepts are understood. That kind of privilege would not have been in the other scenario.
Correct. Very beautifully explained, ma'am. Thank you. And I would like to thank the entire fraternity of the mentors, teachers who are also the COVID warriors, because again, the life kept on moving, the education system, the kind of the need that we have for the students to be educated, that has been really fulfilled by the efforts of the teachers like you. So, madam, you just used the word that future ready. So, are we really preparing the students for the be a future ready citizens using all the virtual means in the virtual world? So,
okay, Asim Bhatnagar sir, let's take away the pandemic from the equation that we are talking about. Yes.
right.
Let's look at where we are standing, and I'm talking pan India, rural, urban, disadvantage, advantage section, and high net worth individuals, everybody. Again, the scenario and the trajectory that India is, I'm talking only vis-a-vis India at this moment, is that here there are certain things which have percolated to everybody. An Aadhaar card for one, a digital device for another. The farthest corner of India, you will have digital devices. You make something viral, everybody would have gone through it. Now, whether it was a necessary thing to peruse is something different, but the moment it is topping the viral charts out there, everybody would go through it. Yes. So we have provided an equal or a level playing field vis-a-vis with different initiatives out there. Yes. You had a time when to appear for a college entrance, you had to have relatives in different cities, so that when that form was printed and was available in different outlets, it was there with you. What do you have to do now? Just go to the website out there and pay the fee and you're on board. Yes. UGC has come with colleges for amazing inputs that here, in case there is a shift which is there, you have policies which facilitate and parents do not lose their money. for whatever reason there. The checks and balances are fantastic. But look at how we are training students. And I'm going to talk about college students, and these may be students who have passed out, maybe students in your college, maybe students who have passed out from organizations like mine or any other school for that matter. Are we training them sufficiently? Can they make their own bed? Can they make their own food? If required, can they go and operate or transact a bank transaction out there? These are simple, basic, life skills that they need to have.
Correct.
Just because there is more privilege, just because you can have a packet of, an instant noodle which boils and gives you food, because a lot of hostels have these instant noodles as the lifeline of food out there, does not mean that human beings will not need nutrition, human beings not needing hygienic conditions, yes, out here. You may have money, but money cannot buy everything. Yes, it can get you a few privileges, but to equip yourself, look at the example of the best industrialists or thought leaders that have come in the world through history. They have worked their way up the chain. They may have been born into privilege, been prince and princesses, been, born with a silver spoon out there, yet to make a success of them, their parents and their education system treated them as absolutely normal, as equal out there. Look at the example of Dronacharya. He had, 105 princes to teach. Did he teach them like princes, or did he teach them like students? Yes, that is the question that we need to answer here. Did the parents, when they entered the Gurukul, consider themselves to be kings and queens, or did they consider them to be, again, that we are parents here? We are here to work with the teacher to take care of our child. Yes. Now, certain things have become a little, what shall I say, distorted. Just because you have more money does not mean you have more privilege. The person who has more money might have more troubles than the other person out there, and having sleepless nights because how to save that money is a problem. Yes, where we have the basic level of society, there is a lot of social security because they carry certain cards out there, so the ration will come, the admissions will have a minimal fee attached to them, but somebody who had a lot and who lost is also a disadvantaged category as of now. We have to look at it. So the right to education to students has to be extended in a more holistic sense. A student who comes from a strata of society or with a certain income which does not give them the EWS benefit, but that home has a single digital device out there.
Right.
Yes, we will have to make accommodations because the parent will use it for their office meeting, that device. The elder brother will use it for a college exam. And then that younger child from school will get the turn to attend his or her class out there. Yes. So are we training them sufficiently? I think there is much that needs to be done. And that is the reason in our school, we are launching a lot of these programs where students have to be able to use their hands to work. The national education policy is a brilliant step in the right direction. It's a policy document which allows us to practice. Pranav comes from a school where their SUPW, especially for the boy students, was spent opening a Lambretta. It is a famous Lambretta from the alumni of the school that he's passed out from. Because if, and why I'm saying boys, because boys were a major demography in that school, the percentage of girls was very less. Yes, the girls had also equal opportunities there, but why did they make them open a Lambretta? Because it was expected that they would drive a two-wheeler. That is what was available at that point of time. So they had to be able to take care of a puncture, and we had spark plug problems then. The students of this age and those who are in our classes do not know the spark plug problems, how to clean that, how to put a plug, how to take care of a fused bulb, electrical meters, when there was a fuse there. I'm sure you've tried putting that wire there. So that fuse was taken care of because we did not have those automatic, shifts and circuitry across out there. These are things that students still need today. Many of them would know how to climb lifts and escalators, but not be very quick on the staircase. So if there is a mall and then you have an evacuation, would they be able to find out the evacuation staircase and not make a normal inclination towards the lift? We will have to teach them these things. So we have to rethink education. And for this, I think, Pranav, you are doing a wonderful service to society, where you're creating the bridge between universities and schools out there, because all the time we cannot expect the government to do what we need here. Government will have its set agenda and its boundaries. Organizations like ours have freedom to interact and chart out. So again, different pathways there. So we are looking at equipping our students how to take care of their money, because fiscal, Pranav sir, I hope I am there, because I think
you
sir
are very there,
got,
ma'am. You're very much there.
You're very much there.
got
You're
frozen.
audible.
We'll have to teach students how to manage wealth. They are born in a very rich country now. India is no longer a poor country. We are giving a lot of things to people around the world there. Yes. So they first thing, they have to know how to use their money and use it wisely. Next, they have to teach them, we have to teach them how to use their time and use it wisely out here. Also, data is the new currency. How to use that data well. So I'm sure schools, we are already taking a lot of, concrete steps in that part, having teachers appointed as mentors. Small groups have been created, so that again customized solution as per student needs are being worked out. But it would help if universities take out a compendium or a handbook for school students in 11th and 12th, because at university level, we the school principals see a lot of wastage where students do not make the correct discipline choice out there. They go more by with what their parents are saying and what their classmates are doing.
Peer
So that
pressures.
classical mistake has to be taken care of. If universities could come out with psychometric analysis, SATs are being done in other countries similarly, which gives the students a clear inference about their strengths, so that they make choices as per what their strengths are. Every student knows their attitude. So, if a paper could be given to students by grade 9, Rome was not built in a day. We cannot do this overnight, but in 4 years, we can train the students and parents that when you are in college, it is expected of you to report to your lecture rooms on time. School systems, the teachers report to the classroom. The students are not used to moving from one place to the other. Students are not used to, there will be young adults who step into college. They are not used to filling their examination form, because in school we do the LOC, the list of candidates with the teachers and the parents out there. So the orientations that could come for students could come at grade 11 level, so that they have sufficient time to prepare and then work towards it. Also, the part that university education has now become much more expensive. When we passed out of college, all our parents had to pay over a few thousands there. Now parents would need, and this we have already started in our school, that 6th onwards parents create your educational trust funds for their children. So 6 years would be a sufficient time for the parents to have a corpus with them, which funds the students college education. Yes, so that funds are not a deterrent for a deserving student to land up in a university which deserves that student, which that student deserves out there.
Correct.
That's the way.
Yeah, ma'am. Very well brought out, ma'am. Like to tell you that we at Sushant University, we are providing a lot of scholarships to the deserving students, just to take care and cater to the needs, so that again nobody should be like should not have the proper education just because of the dearth of the funds. And secondly, for the psychometric test, we also have a strategy. We have our own test, which we go and do and conduct with the schools and the children, so that to give an insight to them that what exactly their interest is and how they can carve a career.
We do psychometric test, Asim sir, in 10th. We do that. We have a very strong guidance and counseling department. But the fact of the matter is that the inference is forgotten by the parent and by the child. So you cannot afford to forget your strength. If Arjun forgot that he was the best Dhanurdhar out there, where would the story of India be? So we have to keep on reminding them. We have to give them confidence in themselves. And Pranav, you had raised your hand. You had something to share. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, I think you spoke very nicely. Miss Principal, I saw a wonderful example in my colony.
Yeah.
Like all these watchmen and all, they were doing sort of a lot of work. You know how to use a smartphone now.
Yes, they all.
We've got a recruitment company. We do a lot of recruitment work, ma'am.
All right.
But we got a very different kind of a vacancy.
Okay.
They sent us a message, please send us WhatsApp executives.
Oh my God. Wow.
Ma'am, we placed 18 people in one day. They were getting a salary of roughly 5 to 6,000 rupees. That was also not in time.
All-
And they're so happy they come and touch our feet.
Very nice.
And
That's
ma'am,
good.
I met a lot of ladies.
Yes.
Ma'am, they are taking it as an advantage because now the classroom has come to their home.
Yes.
Those ladies, they have not studied in school like Maxford or KR Mangalam or DPS. Ma'am, they are very seriously making notes and studying.
Yes, they're
A
studying.
teacher is teaching the whole family now, ma'am. Like our example, like mine are Miss Principal's example, we are from the same hometown, Dehradun. We are settled in the same place, Delhi. But we have never met. I think we have not met, no, ma'am?
No, we've never met in person.
Yes.
We've met virtually.
We know each other from 2.5 years.
Yes.
Because it was not very much required that we should meet. So I find previously we used to do physical conferences and we used to do one in a month. Now we do 3 in a day.
3 in a day. Look at the frequency. Yes.
Yes. Ma'am, we reach so many new countries.
Yes.
Anyway, carry on, sir.
Yeah.
I think we should conclude it in another 2-3 minutes.
Aseem sir, I would like to share with you. I did visit your campus, where
Okay, ma'am.
under your the founder out there, she carried out a very nice session at that point of time, and I had the pleasure of being hosted in your culinary school out there, where
Okay.
you have a French gourmet
Ex-
chef who's leading
Exactly.
the whole
Yeah.
division.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that was before the pandemic times, but exercise like those are very nice because I got an opportunity to interact with the students of the university, find out what kind of experiences they have. The School of Design was carrying out a cultural fair of sorts at that point of time, and it was very nice to find students who are thinking students out there who are being groomed in such a very conducive environment for learning, because every corridor in your university is steeped in a lot of themes there.
Correct. Yes.
What would help us schools is if you open those privileges. I had spoken at that point of time about summer schools, the students
Right.
coming there for internships. So if the students come for internships at a given university during their summer break time, when maybe your examination cycles or others are on, or if universities could approach the schools almost 1 year in advance. I know pandemic has thrown the academic
Yeah.
calendar out of the blue, but what is the lean time where you don't have other students? So it is possible for school students, especially because our geographical location is within bounds of reach, easy reach there. So our
Correct.
buses could bring the students over. They have internships for 2 days or 3 days. They come to experience what a college scenario is like, how you move from one lecture hall to another lecture hall. And I'm talking about students of grade 11, 12th does not have that luxury because their calendar is packed.
Boards. Yeah. I
If they
understand.
get to experience, then they get to know what kind of experience they would have in a particular university, and it helps in making informed choices. No, you're not just going by the brochure, because every university has a similar looking brochure. So how do you
Obviously, yes.
differentiate between an apple and an apple? Because you have to look at the convenience of first, whether your choice is being met there. What is your academic need? Then you have to look at the convenience of whether you can afford the
Correct.
university there. Then you have to look into the convenience of whether it is a place where you can stay or you can reach directly from your home. These are factors that really impact. And one more factor which impacts college admissions very strongly is parents' say, because in India most of the time the parents are paying the fee, so they have a very strong say, and parents should always have a say. But parents should be facilitators into college admissions, not dictators into choices, because a student knows his mind. But again, students also have to look at the wisdom given by the parents out there, because sometimes they make very impractical choice. We have to be rooted in practicality also. You are waiting for an admission seat to open when your merit is 5% low. That's not going to happen. At one mark itself the merit is going to change. Yes. So if you continue to wait only for a Stephens or an SRCC out there, those seats might not come for somebody who's got a merit of 95%, but that anybody who's got a merit of above 90% is somebody who is brilliant, who deserves a fantastic college and university.
Very true. Yes.
So those pathways have to be made, because what we tell our parents also is that please don't go by the numbers. Your child needs only a single seat in a good discipline in a great college and university out there. So the other numbers don't affect you, as long as you've got that discipline, as long as you've got that college out there. And there are multiple ways to complete that education and then be employable and contribute to the society.
True, ma'am. Very true points. Really, whatever you have shared, I'll definitely work on that and will come back to you with the internship proposal. Ma'am, just last question. What message would you like to give to the students who will be starting their journeys into the college and then the professional lives after finishing of the school?
The only message I have is pay attention to your teachers. You don't just log in and expect to learn. The teachers have worked very hard to bring online content to students. You know, for us to do this session out there, it is very seamless. But the teacher who has to teach calculus, a teacher who has to teach accountancy via a virtual mode has had sleepless nights putting that session together. And if you log in and you're paying attention, you will be a very rich student, rich in your academic life, rich in your personal life out there, because this is a time where you're not distracted by 20, 40 other students. You are in your room and you can focus. You have that energy. Yes. On the other hand, do not just log in and mark a perfectory attendance, because all that you would get by that attendance would be a simple certificate, not the knowledge to make yourself successful in real life, because real life will test your knowledge every day. Yes, and that knowledge, you will come out tops. You will be first in that, in the race to live your life and live a beautiful life, if you pay attention while your teachers are teaching. That is the single mantra.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Thanks for sharing such a beautiful insights. And I'm sure that this session will definitely have its own impact on the parents and the students, and they definitely will be benefited out of it. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for being here with us. And thank you, Mr. Pranav, for giving this opportunity to me for interacting with madam.
Technology again.
Yeah.
Because me and Asim got introduced yesterday evening, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it was a physical mode, first we have to go for dinner, lunch, then we get closer, then we'll tell them. Thanks so much, Priyanka ma'am. I think, Priyanka ma'am, you will have to have enough of me today. One more session we have with you. Fine, ma'am.
One more session we have.
Thank you, Asim.
One more thing, just wanted to share, sir. I do have a Dehradun connection. I was there with Indian Army, so did my training at IMA Dehradun.
IMA, yeah.
I had beautiful memories with Dehradun, with Rajpur Road, and so many other places where we were.
My home is in Rajpur Road, and my father worked at FRI. That's a beautiful building.
Again,
so our childhood was spent growing up there, Trevor Road to be precise, sir. And IMA, that's again a lovely campus.
Asim, we used to hate IMA guys, because when there were fairs and all the girls will be after this IMA guys. But that was an aspiration. All the boys wanted to get to the army. Thank you so much, Mr. Asim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka ma'am.
And we'll connect again. Yeah. We will connect again. Yes, Asim sir, you are most welcome to our school. Pranav is always, Pranav needs no invitation. We would love it if in better times you come over and we have a concrete dialogue also with our students in person, with our guidance and counseling department, so that we have pathways where we can mutually work out ways so our students benefit. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Surely.
In fact, a couple of my students did move over from other universities and they've passed out of your engineering school out there.
Okay.
So
that's so nice.
It's nice to connect.
Yeah.